Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really fascinating shift, how the technology we use for learning has quietly evolved from being just a simple tool into something way more interesting, something more like a motivational teammate. So let's just start with a question. Think about your phone or your laptop. When you use it to learn something, is it just a fancy, high-tech calculator, or is it something more? This very question, believe it or not, is at the absolute heart of a debate that's been raging for decades in the world of educational technology.
You see, for the longest time, there were two big ideas duking it out. On one side, you had the amplification view. This basically says tech is just a tool, like a hammer or a calculator, that makes us faster or more efficient. But on the other side, you've got this constructivist view, which sees tech as an active partner that actually changes how we learn. It's the huge difference between learning from a computer and learning with one.
And you know, this isn't a new idea. Way back in the late 80s, researchers were already pushing for more. They argued that tech shouldn't just be amplifying what we already do. It should be helping us fundamentally rewire and reorganize the way our own minds work.
And so, that became the new goal, the holy grail, if you will. The idea was to create what they started calling mind tools, or cognitive tools. Basically, technology that could act as a true intellectual partner on our learning journey.
So, how did we actually make that leap? How do you go from a glorified digital flashcard to an actual intellectual partner? Well, the answer really lies in how the technology itself changed.
If you look back, the evolution is pretty clear. In the 60s and 70s, it was all about computer-assisted instruction. You'd sit there and do drills. The 80s got a bit smarter with intelligent tutors, but it was still a one-way street of information. But then, the internet happened, and that changed everything. And when Web 2.0 came along in the 2000s, with social media and wikis, suddenly we weren't just consuming information anymore, we were creating it, sharing it, and collaborating on it.
And you gotta understand, this wasn't just about getting faster computers. This was a total paradigm shift. It was a move away from the idea of one person learning from one machine to this new world where lots of people could learn together through a whole network of machines.
But here's where the story takes a really interesting twist. Because even with all these amazing new collaborative tools, these so-called intellectual partners, researchers started to realize that something huge, something critical, was still missing from the picture.
You see, the entire focus had been on cognition, that's how we think, and metacognition, how we think about our thinking. We were building all these incredible tools for processing information and organizing our thoughts, but we'd completely ignored a fundamental, deeply human element.
And what was it? Motivation, the engine that actually drives all learning in the first place. I mean, think about it. What good is the most brilliant intellectual partner in the world if you have absolutely no desire to even turn it on?
Okay, so this is where things get really cool. To solve this motivation problem, we have to turn to psychology. And specifically, we can look to this really powerful framework called self-determination theory.
Now, this theory is actually pretty simple at its core. It says that for any of us to feel intrinsically motivated, you know, that feeling of wanting to do something just for the love of it, three basic psychological needs have to be met. And those are autonomy, competence, and relatedness.
So let's break those down. First up is autonomy. This is our fundamental, deep-seated need to feel like we're in the driver's seat of our own lives. It's about having choice and feeling a sense of control. And when you stop and think about it, so much of the tech we use every day is practically built to satisfy this need. You choose which groups to join, what ideas to tweet about, what videos to create and share. This technology hands you the freedom to direct your own learning and your own expression. Okay, next up is competence. This is that really satisfying feeling of, hey, I'm actually getting good at this. It's that need to feel capable, to feel effective, and to see yourself making real progress. And again, modern tech is a master at this. Think about a good video game. It gives you challenges that are just hard enough, and it gives you hints right when you need them. When you collaborate on a wiki, you get peer feedback that makes you better. And even a simple like on social media is a tiny hit of instant feedback that tells you, hey, you're on the right track.
And finally, we have relatedness. We are social creatures through and through. We have this deep biological need to feel connected to other people, to feel like we belong to a community, to a tribe.
And in hindsight, it seems so obvious, right? Of course this is what social technology does. It's designed from the ground up to help us find our people, maintain those connections, and work together on shared projects. It directly feeds that need for relatedness.
So let's pull back and look at the big picture. When you put all of these pieces together, what do you see? Well, you see a completely new kind of partnership being born.
And the evidence really backs this up. The research is clear. Studies show that students who use Facebook groups feel they have more choice and freedom. That's autonomy. Students who use wikis feel more confident and motivated to write. That's competence. And people who use games and social media report a stronger sense of belonging. The connection is undeniable.
So here's the ultimate takeaway. We've moved beyond creating tech that just helps us think. We are now designing systems that actively support our very human need to feel motivated. Technology has become a partner that helps us find the will to learn, not just the way to learn.
And this, of course, leaves us with a pretty profound question for the future. As our technological partners get even more sophisticated, we're talking AI, augmented reality, virtual reality, the whole shebang. They're not just going to change what we can learn. They are poised to fundamentally reshape the very reasons why we learn in the first place.
Thanks for joining this explainer.